Hey, beloved light anchors. I had somebody ask me to explain more, like, what are you doing? What are you gonna do in this 5-session container, starting on the eclipse on Monday, tomorrow, through the end of the year? And she said, it's not really making sense. And I said, well, it's because what we're doing is experiential. And so the pointing at what we're going to do with words is a challenge, because we use the words for the thinking mind, and what we're going to be, I'll do my best to explain. So the container is a place where we're actually going to be, our overarching premise is we are reversing the resistance, our conditioned resistance, to accessing the body, to accessing with our conscious mind the entire incredible landscape that is within us, not necessarily conceptually, but actually viscerally. So the thought addiction that we've been conditioned to have is very enticing, right? I mean, we can get onto a thought and be taken on an entire roller coaster, right? And then all of a sudden, we feel like crap, and in the fourth dimension, the principles of the fourth dimension, then we learn to, oh yeah, these negative thoughts, right? Oh, I'm doing this negative thought thing, I'm gonna change it to a positive one, right? And then maybe I'll even attempt to manipulate my emotional experience by also manufacturing, imagery and memories or something to try to also force my emotional body to also change, right? And so it's great, right? We can become masters at thought policing and masters at trying to force our inner reality to be different than what it is. And oftentimes, I think most of us experience when we do that game, which I did that game for a long time, I became really good at it, only thinking positive thoughts and, manifesting only what I want. And that doesn't quite make it from fourth dimension to fifth dimension, because in the fifth dimension, we're actually called to step into authenticity and in unity consciousness. And the fundamental element of unity consciousness is within our microcosm, and that includes the unification of our conscious mind, our higher self, our future self orienting, and our physical body. And so over the 5-session series, we're going to be holding a very, very powerful but very gentle container that helps that process of tenderly turning the car back around, right? So when the car goes out of the garage, right, and it goes out into the thoughts, and it's giving all the attention to the external projection or even thoughts about the self, right? But they're still out there. Where am I even sensing my body at all, right? Call that disembodied dialogue. Could be internal disembodied dialogue or relational disembodied dialogue, right? Where we've actually lost not complete, but a great deal of relationship to the anchor of the physical body. And that's an art. It's actually an art that we have been able to even do that. It's an art to bypass the natural way of being, which is to be in our bodies. And why? Well, what happens right before those quote-unquote negative thoughts? If we were to reverse the tape, what we will see is that right before those quote-unquote negative thoughts, there's a bunch of sensations that are uncomfortable that arise within the body. And it's uncomfortable for consciousness to be present with those because we haven't been supported generally to inhabit the uncomfortable sensations. We've been conditioned to say, oh, I don't like whatever it is in the external world, and we put all our attention on that and try to change it. And then we, in the fourth dimension, we say, I don't like the thoughts I'm having, so I'm going to put all my attention in trying to change my thoughts, right? But the thoughts are actually a symptom of something arising deep within. And if we only try to correct the problem, so to speak, by dodging around and playing around in the symptom without accessing where did that symptom arise from, we're going to be on that yo-yo of, negative thoughts. Oh, I'm going to come in and do thought ninja work and change it into positive ones, and then life's going to serve me another thing on the buffet that shows me the gap between what I'm trying to tell myself that I think, but what the configuration of my body is actually showing me that part of me also thinks, right? And so my purpose, my mission, like activating my highest destiny timeline, is supporting light anchors who are ready to go from fourth dimension to fifth dimension and walk that space with tender kindness, compassion, and authenticity to cultivate the courage and the capacity, again, to truly go within and to allow our gentle yin to regain, again, sovereignty. So yin is inward focus, right? It's gentle and it's soft, in contrast to the yang, which is external focused, tries to be strong, hard, narrow pointed, right? When we're kind of have tunnel vision, I know what's right? We want to grasp onto an idea. Yang is conceptual versus yin being embodied. Yang likes to say, I'm gonna find the answer, right? And prove it, right? And yin is comfortable with, I wonder, and possibly. And so we're going to be working with these polarities in a very gentle way that allows us to kind of reverse that resistance to being with what authentically arises and unifying within us everywhere inside, with every kind of pointed, explosive, external, even just run around monkey mind, high static thought process. There's an entire world of interior sensations that are happening that are being abandoned. And so we're going to be very, very gently over the course of 5 sessions reversing the conditioning that has us leaving the body and abandoning what's happening inside in order to get hijacked by the projection. And we're going to be very, very gradually allowing where the conscious mind meets the body again, where these internal contractions are happening, are met by gentle yin, literally with our masterful use of our attention, our inner attention, allowing a deeper and deeper map of unification within ourselves. And where that happens, where yang, the grasping, the resisting, the guarding, the protecting, is no longer having to do that in isolation, hidden and alone and in the dark places of ourselves, where we just become aware of thoughts that are chaotic. Where that unification happens is going to be an area that creates a wider opening for your higher self energy to actually circulate within the body. And we can call that light anchoring, intentionally and masterfully, and from a fifth dimensional unity consciousness kind of perspective or context. And so it's a beautiful thing when we are able to very gradually and tenderly become conscious of our interior mapping, which changes from the fact of being observed, and particularly from the experience of being tenderly observed, witnessed through a Yin Sovereignty lens, which is one that's been very dampened down in our culture. We see it in the exterior projection as patriarchy, but it's also happening within ourselves in the way that our attention has been utilized. We could say it's been hijacked, but that doesn't feel very empowering, right? But when we reclaim our Yin Sovereignty, it is a sovereign choice. Because of all of the ways that we can utilize our attention, we are sovereignly choosing to completely backtrack our conditioning and re-inhabit the conscious mind within the body, which allows more and more of the driver's seat of our life to be inhabited authentically by our higher self. So we're not having to, and our higher self does not create negative thoughts about anyone or anything, right? And so we get off of the yo-yo of staying out here in thought land doing thought work ninja to actually walking embodied and steady within the deepest spiritual principles that already exist within us. We just need to map them ever more clearly and with softer and softer resolution to allow that to happen. And it's not even just, do I want the higher self more and more fully in the driver's seat of my life? Over the course of deepening in our practice, deepening in our inner attention gymnastics, not external thought gymnastics, we're not just inviting the higher self into the driver's seat. It's like the higher self gets to sit in every seat. And it gets to hold with tenderness all the little mini egos, right? That are hidden, suppressed, guarding, contracting, the scared parts of ourselves that have been ignored and isolated within our bodies that show up, in less than happy ways in our thoughts and in our projection. But it's like our higher self, not just in the driver's seat, but in every seat, and just walking with authentic, gentle tenderness within us. And then we get to experience whole aspects, whole avenues of capacities that open up when we're walking authentically with that and turning inward gently with that. And we'll be anchoring light in three directions, allowing the light that, it's like the static, the anchoring of light downward, is what allows the static to ground down, and it's all those crazy, wild, and even logical, right? But those logical thoughts that just get us really revved up, it's static. Right? So as we learn to inhabit the body ever more masterfully, the static stays down. We become masters of navigating the static. We also become masters of what's happening within our conscious mind and our bodies, and particularly those aspects of, that authentically arise that are contractions and resistance and all that. We get to be gentle, yin, sovereign masters of tenderly, compassionately holding those as well, and allowing those to evolve and change and reveal a deeper truth within. And this signals to the brain from the body that it's the upward flow of light, letting the brain in the nervous system know, oh, okay, even in the face of whatever's in the exterior that's triggering the interior, even in the face of that, it's actually safe to anchor light right now. So we get like sovereignty. And then we have the horizontal light anchoring, which is becoming more and more masterful at the transmissional field that's happening from our electrical systems to beings in our midst. And getting to be consciously aware of, is my transmission in this moment, to what degree is my transmissional field in this moment sending messages to other nervous systems that it's safe to anchor light in my presence, in this now moment? and what degree is there, static or confusion or coagulation of something, which is generally just cellular debris that can be processed in that very instant. So that's what we're doing, gradually mapping the interior incredibleness of the body as we gently reverse the conditioning of resistance to accessing it with gentle tenderness, and holding in a container that meets each week as a wide resource for all of the external static that we find ourselves in to anchor and ground down. And this is all, of course, happening over the entire eclipse portal, the energies leading up to and coming after the solstice, which is my 40th birthday. You gotta spend my 40th birthday with me if you want, if you're part of this container. And really, really deeply, like, finding a more compassionate, tender relationship with the self as a microcosm within the macrocosm. So that's what we're doing. I hope that explains it better. And just send me an email, medicinalwitnessing@protonmail.com ASAP, because we're starting at 5 o'clock on Monday. So email me ASAP for the details. There will be recordings of all of the 5 sessions, so if there's some that you can't make live, you'll get them that same night, making a high priority to get those out the same night, because these are really powerful times that we live in right now. What we do with these next 2 weeks, in fact, it's going to be impacting what happens in the next 6 months. So it's really, really awesome time to be anchoring light and re-inhabiting our bodies and getting access to, deeper and deeper clarity within. And hope you're loving beloved Shasta in the background there. I moved into this cabin. See if you can see it. In the woods here for the month of December, so that I will for sure be charged and be able to support. Also, part of this package is one-on-one. You will get a one-on-one breakthrough session with me for whatever arises for you in terms of resistance, because the overall aspect we're working with is reversing our repulsion to resistance, to be able to work with it masterfully and tenderly. So much love to you, and I hope that you will join me.